have you come?
I sense suffering here, Spirit. Do you need help?
You know nothing of suffering. This is my home, my village. Turn back, Spirit Guide.
Today we're switching things up a bit, and instead of my normal Forbidden West content, I'm bringing you guys my recommendation for a game I think you'll really enjoy. Kena Bridge of Spirits was released almost a year ago now, and it's a gorgeous game filled with exploration, a unique story, environmental puzzles, and some surprisingly challenging combat. Even if you've already played it, stick around, because we're also going to cover the major anniversary update that's coming for free on September 27th. If you're waiting for God of War, Hogwarts Legacy, and Horizon DLC like I am, then I think you'll really like playing Kena Bridge of Spirits while you wait for those games, and now is the perfect time to play it. If you don't already know, Kena is a spirit guide, with a unique ability to help troubled souls trapped in this life move on. Throughout the game, we join Kena on her journey to help the troubled spirits of a mysteriously abandoned village and ultimately resolve the corruption of a sacred shrine. Unlike the vast majority of games that simply give you a major enemy or force to fight against, the element of spirituality in Kena puts a fresh and more meaningful spin on game progression. In fact, the major plot points can get pretty deep, and if you're paying close attention, there are some subtle nods to serious topics. That being said, I wouldn't call the game dark overall by any stretch. There's plenty of exploring to do across the beautifully designed map, with Kena's spirit companions, the Rot, accompanying her. The Rot are definitely the game's major hook, and for good reason. While they are adorable companions, you'll also need the Rot to solve many cleverly designed puzzles, which I liked a lot, and unlock and use the most powerful combat abilities. The combat was surprisingly challenging at times, but very fun. Ember Labs gave us some great abilities to play with, and I really enjoyed figuring out how to combo them to beat the huge variety of enemies. For example, using the bomb, bow, and rot together to temporarily freeze enemies. I also found Kena's double jump ability really satisfying. Oh, and if you were wondering, it is officially pronounced Kena. I was saying Kena for a while, but a piece of early in-game dialogue confirms her name is Kena. Now, despite the adorable rot, whimsical setting, and Pixar-style animation, don't be fooled into thinking Kena is an easy game meant for younger audiences. This couldn't be further from the truth, particularly when it comes to combat. Combat experiences throughout the game, from minor enemies to extended multi-phase boss fights, can be quite difficult, especially when you play on Expert or Master, which is only unlocked after completing the game on another difficulty level. I know a bunch of you have played Horizon on Ultra Hard and God of War 2018 on Challenging or God of War mode, so let me put it this way. Kena is often harder, seriously. I'm not much of a Dark Souls player myself, but I've even heard people in that community say that the boss fights in Kena are tougher than many in Dark Souls 3. The core of what makes combat challenging is timing and resource management. Some enemy attacks are extremely quick and difficult to dodge. Others have extended wind-up animations with a difficult to predict pause before the actual attack happens, so it's tough to time your dodge or parry correctly. Enemies hit hard too, so you have to be very mindful of your health and courage, both of which are limited in the ways you can recharge them. During a fight, the only way to heal is to use a very limited number of blue flowers, usually 2 or 3, which can only be used once. To activate them, you have to first charge up enough courage for the rot to grab them for you, but you also need that courage to perform all of your strongest attacks. On higher difficulties, all of this can feel pretty unforgiving and frustrating at times. That being said, I don't want you guys to think the combat is bad. On the contrary, I do really enjoy it. It feels very smooth, and figuring out different ways to combine Kena's abilities is a lot of fun. There's also a large variety of enemies and bosses to fight, and each one has a unique set of movements and attacks that will keep you on your toes. Just be prepared to die a lot so you can learn their attack patterns before being able to beat them. And for those of you who want to tone things down a bit, the regular Spirit Guide mode and especially Story mode are certainly easier. Outside of combat, you'll explore the map and complete some cleverly designed environmental puzzles, which often require a combination of Kena's abilities, the rot, and platforming skills. The world is wide linear and structured in a Metroidvania style, with the game guiding you from the central village hub out along complex paths to complete different parts of the story and blocking you from entering certain areas until you've gained the required abilities. While it's not a true open world, I never felt like I was being boxed in too much. There's plenty to explore, and the world feels much bigger than it is because of the excellent design work Ember Labs did. They also included fast travel warp points so you can move across the map quickly. The structure is very similar to God of War 2018 or The Last of Us Part 2, so if you enjoyed those maps, I think you'll like Kena's too. In fact, I feel like Kena draws elements from many of my favorite games. The world structure and game progression is similar to God of War, and the wood-based enemies even remind me of the Draugr. The map and graphics also bring back fond memories of old Zelda games like Ocarina of Time and Twilight Princess, which makes sense because the developer Ember Labs was the animation studio that created the Majora's Mask fan film. And last but not least, I get a lot of Horizon vibes. Of course, we've got a strong female protagonist who uses a bow as one of her primary weapons, but we also have a skill called Focus that's essentially Kena's version of Horizon's Concentration. You can grapple to special flowers similar to using the Polecaster in Forbidden West, and there's a slow motion effect if you use Kena's bow while jumping, just like Aloy had with the Hunter Reflexes skill in Zero Dawn. Kena has plenty of elements that make it uniquely its own universe though, so this certainly isn't a knockoff of any game, but I think if you enjoyed any of the games I just mentioned, then you'll enjoy Kena too. Oh, and did I mention the soundtrack is excellent too? All the music in this video is straight from the game. There are really only two things I wish the game did better. First, I just wanted more. More quests, more skills, more combat scenarios, more everything really. The game is pretty short. If you focus on the main story and play on normal difficulty, it will probably take you about 10 to 15 hours to finish it, maybe even less. You can get more out of it if you do all the side content, like collecting all 100 rot and over 51 cosmetic hats for them, retrieving and delivering spirit mail to help villager spirits move on, and clearing cursed chests. But even with all that, I'd say you'll total about 40 hours max. Fortunately, we're getting a bunch more content in the anniversary update coming on September 27th, which will bring new game mechanics, enemies, and a new quest, as well as more side content to complete. A major new element will be Charmstones, which you can equip to modify Kena's stats and abilities. We don't know what they'll all do just yet, but it's safe to assume they'll boost different skills, including some new ones, like this one that appears to be some type of multi-enemy bomb. Interestingly, some Charmstones appear to be balanced by causing a negative effect in addition to their positive one. For example, we can see here in the trailer that the Resilience Charmstone temporarily increases staff damage, but also causes you to lose all courage on the last hit. The same appears to be true for this Half Moon Charmstone. I'm thinking these must be some of the cursed Charmstones Ember Labs mentioned in their blog post on the update. In the same blog post, they also mentioned that Charmstones will mostly be hidden around the world, but some, and I assume probably some of the best ones, are rewards for completing Spirit Guide trials, which are another new addition. Accessible from the existing Mask Shrine area, these trials will be a place for us to put our skills to the test. Combat scenarios will definitely be one of the options here, with the developers confirming wave defense challenges and something they're calling Boss Reflex, which give us an opportunity to revisit some, or maybe all, of the boss fights to try our hand at them again. But it's not all combat. They also confirmed there will be obstacle courses that focus on perfecting your movement, timing, and aiming abilities using Kena's cornerstone abilities like the bow, bomb, double jump, and dash. In addition to Charmstone rewards, we'll also be able to unlock new outfits for Kena, including color customizations, which will be really cool because the game has a pretty solid photo mode, and it will be fun to explore the new content rocking a new look. If you have the Deluxe Edition, you'll also get the special Shadow outfit, and you can buy the Deluxe add-on later if you don't want to get it right away. Speaking of new content, based on the trailer, it's pretty clear we'll be getting at least one new quest to complete, which will dovetail nicely with the last major update, the addition of a New Game Plus mode, which will be great for those of us that want to play through again but don't want to start over completely from square one. The blog post also mentioned new enemies and updates to existing boss fights, both of which will be unique to New Game Plus, so definitely some good replay value there. And for those of you who love the rot, yes, there will be new hats to collect too. Oh, and in addition to being available on PS4, PS5, and PC via the Epic Games Store like it was at launch, you'll now be able to get it via Steam for PC as well. The second thing I wish the game did differently is develop Kena's character a little more. This wasn't a deal breaker by any means, and I actually think it could be a positive thing in the long run, but I was surprised at the end of the game that I felt like I didn't know much about Kena herself. You spend most of your time focused on the backstories of the spirits you're trying to help, and I wish I had been able to spend a little more time learning about Kena's story. I hope this means we could someday see a sequel, or maybe a prequel, that helps us get to know Kena more, because overall, I think this game was really well done, especially since it was Ember Labs' first. With major games like God of War still at least 2 months out, and the Kena Anniversary update coming in a couple of weeks, I think now is the perfect time to play Kena Bridge of Spirits, especially since it's a relatively short game to complete. I'm definitely looking forward to replaying it on Master difficulty with the new content. And like I mentioned earlier, if you're a fan of Horizon, God of War, or Zelda like I am, then I think think you'll really like Kena too. If you enjoyed this review style video, let me know with a like down below and comment too. Are you guys looking forward to playing Kena for the first time? Or if you've already played, maybe you're looking forward to a replay after the update. If you want to get a taste for the gameplay, the first videos I posted on this channel were actually my walkthrough for the first part of Kena, so you could go check those out. They aren't my very first videos though, so they're a little rough around the edges. As always, thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.